Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Wednesday, and we're now at the 8th of February, 2023, 6:15 p.m. So as we go to the metal markets, gold and silver both lower, copper up a fraction, but I'm not seeing any real news out of China to say why it's up there. Platinum market under some definite selling pressure. Dollar was flat today, and a number of the currencies, they're just wishy-washy. Here's what's going on. The market is caught in the thralls of all these different Fed members now marching out and holding little conferences, writing papers, and telling the public and the conferences that they speak at, because they are invited to a lot of places. In unison, interest rates may have to go up more than they originally thought and stay there for longer. They are, to a person that I've seen, making that statement. Why? Because while they've had good success to a degree on the inflation front, they are not having any success in the jobs market yet. Nothing measurable. In fact, the opposite. Jobs market's way stronger than they thought it would be. We have 3.4% unemployment. Need I tell you more? That is the problem. At the same time, now what's happening in the swaps market, if you go to the Fed watch page and you look at what the interest rate bets are going out, suddenly we're starting to see some interest in far out of the money bets of 6% interest. That wasn't there just days ago. Now we're starting to get that. Doesn't mean you're going there. Some of those bets are done there. They cover them in different ways. I'm just explaining what is going on. When we go to the gold market, you can see that for the week, the market is up 0.67%. It still has a gain going into Thursday's trade, but the market is sitting at the lower tier here that it's been at recently. And if you take a look at it, if that gives ground, you have a problem. If 1873.20, especially on a closing basis, gives ground. So you have moving averages that are supportive at 1812 and 1795, the 200 and the 100 day. We have resistance up at 1925.60, and the Bollinger Band comes in right under us at 1870.80. The chart's a mess. There's no other good explanation for it. You have higher highs, lower lows, a broad range, and I wouldn't call this a trend. I call the market lost its uptrend and it came down and it's now just sort of waffling. It's even oversold. Buy. There's better things to do with money. In the gold silver, there's just nothing here yet. The silver market doesn't seem to be able to launch an attack where it starts gaining on that. You can see here it's one of these ugly charts too. Higher high, lower low. You had 3 days under the lower band. That gave you a 2% chance coming into today that you'd stay under the band. I've explained this over and over. Take my enhanced Bollinger Band course. The odds were the market was going to move to the right-hand side of the band, which it's done, but that does not mean it's ready to go up. It's still very bearish. It's oversold. It's flirting with trying to embed. Can get that done by Friday. So you got, I think it's by Friday. Let's just check. I might be wrong on that. I want to go to day before. Yep, I'm right. Because both numbers were underneath 20. If both were to close under 20 Thursday session, come the close of business Friday, you'd be embedded, and that could be a very bearish situation. Again, take the course. You learn why. In the copper, you're oversold, not trying to embed, still in a downtrend. We haven't seen any of the influence we were looking for when the lunar holiday ended and China was going to open its economy and the big bids and everything was going to come. You didn't see it in energy prices. You haven't seen it in copper prices either. I'm not saying it won't be there in time. What I have said repeatedly is I think the Chinese government lies about everything. So what you get is what they want you to get. What have you heard about COVID cases in China? Have you noticed there's nothing about it in the newspapers? I go to the Chinese newspapers as well. No, I cannot read Chinese, but I can get it translated. Everything on the internet works. I'm not seeing anything about outbreaks. Yet we know the lunar holiday was there. These people aren't vaccinated the right way. And mysteriously, there's nothing there. By the way, they're right. We should get all the pieces together of that balloon that we shot down, and we should give everything back to the Chinese government after we run it through a shredder. And then we should charge them to send back the shredded goods. But first, Take everything you can out of it, glean it. You want to fly over our country? We shoot you down. We think, I'm sure it was, a spy mission. And via that spy, whatever's there is there. I'm not saying we'll gather anything new, but they deserve it back. You should be a good neighbor. Your neighbor lost something, you should give it back. I didn't say you can't shred it. I just said give it back. On the April platinum, we have a higher high and a lower low. The battleground's clear. It's between the 100-day average down to the lower band, and you're embedded. So the pros are probably selling. I hate selling, though, the first challenge of a 100-day average. It's just, my experience level has been that's also a support zone. So I often walk away from those type of trades. I'm not saying that purely the market is still in the bear camp. It is. In the palladium market, this is where the market should fail. The 18-day average, you came out of an oversold condition. Both numbers are now sitting in the 30 to 40 range. They're no longer oversold. Anything under 30 is oversold. So I think the pros are hitting the market up there, and they're getting paid back for it by taking the move in it. And last, in the dollar index, you're in a big resistance area. But what do we do with this? If the marketplace believes that the Fed is still going to not continue with a lot of rate hikes, then the dollar is too high. If it thinks it's going to add more and more of them, then the dollar's going higher because money follows where the interest rate increases goes to a certain degree. That's the battle you're on right now. You have 3-4 days now of hitting the Bollinger Band. You're getting a gorilla glue trade. Every day you hit that band and you don't move away from it, it locks onto it, it starts bringing up the slow stochastics, tries to embed them. We'll see if it can stay in that area, but that's not the bearish action you necessarily think it is. Fair warning to traders, okay? Again, take the enhanced Bollinger Band course. You'll learn a lot of these different techniques that I'm showing you. And again, I'm going to remind you, we have on the website my energy report. It goes off our website tomorrow, so you have time to view it. Just move your cursor to the top up here. There'll be an icon. Give it a click. It'll take you to what you have to do to get to the report. One more day of it. My reports, when I put out a video report, stays for 4 days. They're not history lessons. They're not to say, oh, look at how right or how wrong he was. They're for right now. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a good evening. I'll see you in the morning.